Monday on Cocktail Network Live. Watch One Drink With. Candid conversations with bottle flipping, shaker spinning cocktail creators from around the world. From Las Vegas to New York, London to Japan, what happens behind bars gets shared here. Starring Dean Serneels and Rob Husted. This week we share One Drink With Ingrid Shawn Rodriguez. And here we are. Welcome to Repeal Day. Mr. Rob Husted, how are you, sir?
Dean, I am great. I am happy for today to be celebrating with you and celebrating with our guests coming up. I couldn't think of three better people to share this day with some great cocktails.
Well, you're stuck with me on Mondays anyway, so but yeah, having our guest today on, a very, very special guest talking about Repeal Day. Just so happens that it's on a Monday, so I hope everybody has their whiskey out, and we're making some old-fashioned cocktails. It's over 100 years ago now, Rob.
Pretty close to it.
Yeah, well, Prohibition started 1919, right?
Well, yeah, but don't give away when it was repealed, because that may be the trivia question.
Oh, that's right. Oh, because it's today's Repeal Day, not Welcome to Prohibition Day. Right? All right, Rob, we've got a lot of things to get done today before we get to our guests. One of them is to give some money away. Correct?
Correct. So what we do every month here is we do an online contest. It's pretty simple. We give you a spirit, when you got to put a minimum of 1.5 ounce of the spirit, a half ounce of any Real syrup, and submit a picture. No limit on ingredients, no limit on homemade ingredients. Go nuts. The handcuffs are off. So this month was Redemption Rye Bourbon, or that double high rye, along with Real ingredients. And we got our top three, Dean, if you're ready to announce them, sir.
I am ready to announce. We'll bring in our first of the top three today. This one is called Juan Carmelo. Juan Santiago sent it in from Chicago. He said that he created this for his grandfather, who he's named after. Redemption Rye, Hazelnut Real, Vanilla Real, and Butter Ripple. The sweet butter ripple liqueur. He's got a marshmallow on top, and I believe that's magic shell caramel floating around inside there as well. Looks pretty good. It tasted very good. It tasted like a candy bar, and I enjoyed the marshmallow afterwards too. How about you, Rob?
It definitely enjoyed it, and around this time of the season, it was a fitting cocktail.
Nice. And I'm gonna give the next two to you.
Let's do it. Nice. Coming in second place, all the way from Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, not that far from where I'm at right now, Peggy Zirkle with the Story Keeper. Beautiful looking cocktail.
Yeah.
And this goes to show you, Dean, like, for me, this is where she scored really high, was on appearance and drink name. Like, you first drink it in with your eyes, like, wow, you look at that cocktail, it could taste like crap, but looking at it, you want to think it tastes good. With 2 ounces Redemption Rye, a 1/4 ounce of the Ginger Real, and Blackberry. So she used 2 Reals on there, did some well with that, with some aquafaba and some lemon juice. Beautiful cocktail, good aroma, and well done for Peggy for one of her first times in our online competition. But that brings us to first place.
Well, I wanted to talk about Peggy's cocktail. She's got lots of Reals in there, but the foam created by the aquafaba there is it looks like a beautiful foam. And I just love the orange and yellow colors, like you were saying, how it accents off of that dark purple from the blueberry. So, nice job. All right, are you ready? And the winner is... I'm shaking my whole table.
Coming in first place, winning last month and winning again this month, Mr. Mike Hastings from Nashville, Tennessee, with his Banana Brulee.
Nice.
Dean, this was a fun cocktail. He was inspired from the show Drink Masters on Netflix. He was saying he was so inspired of all these bartenders infusing things and making their own liquor and stuff like that, that this is the first time he tried it. So he used an ISI to infuse his Redemption High Rye with 1 cup of Redemption Rye, 1 ounce of brown sugar, and 2 ounces of banana real. Did that for 10 minutes, and that infusion is lovely because I'm sipping on it right now.
Nice.
Did 2 ounces of that for its final cocktail with some lychee real in there, which I thought like that could be a little crazy.
I was expecting the lychee to not fit in there straight up.
Yeah, I thought it would throw it off, but surprisingly worked really well with that banana coming through. Milk, egg whites, and then the chocolate bitters, and like I couldn't stop drinking this drink. Like it was damn good. So where he excelled on this one was creativity, coming above and beyond, infusing his own stuff in there, as well as taste was out of this world. So Mike Hastings, congratulations, my friend, and I'm gonna sip on this until it's time for 1 minute mixology.
Rob, do you have your ISI there just for people that are watching that may not know what the heck you're talking about?
I have plenty of ISI, so the other one's in the kitchen being cleaned right now, but this is the backup, yes.
Being cleaned. It sounds like you have like housekeepers or something in there cleaning.
Yeah. So you want to walk
tell us what the ISI is. Take us on a little tour of it.
All right, so the ISI, if you haven't used it, most of you guys have probably seen this when you go to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts, and they use it to put your cream on your coffee or something like this. Well, bartenders, we like to take things and use it in ways that you're probably not supposed to, but are going to be happy when you do it. So what we do, we use this in a lot of different ways. There's a way we use this for carbonating fruits and garnishes like grapes and lychees, where they pop in your mouth like Pop Rocks. But another quick way is doing a quick infusion. And an easy way to do that is put some either alcohol or non-alcohol in there. Put a bunch of different flavorings in there. So like I like to use, let's say, WhistlePig. So I'll put some WhistlePig in here with some cinnamon sticks, some clove, and close it up. So you got that airtight seal. You want to lock it down and throw some nitrogen in here. There's 2 different cartridges, nitrogen or CO2. CO2 gives you kind of like a fat, lazy bubble, where the nitrogen will give you a sharp lot of bubbles. You'll get more of a better infusion if you use nitrogen. So pop some nitrogen in there, shake it up, let it sit for a few minutes, and then what I like to do is I will always generally do a double charge. So I'll take the air out, let it spurt out, throw another charge in, shake it up for another couple minutes, and within 10 minutes, you're going to have a quick infusion of something that would normally take you a day or hours to do, Dean.
Absolutely, absolutely. I use it regularly. I make whipped creams with it all the time with the Real product. So I just take, and you can take, it's different with half and half versus 2% versus whipping cream. And it just makes different styles of foam and different styles of whipping cream. So I just do a half and half mixture, whether it's Cocoa Real or Pumpkin Real. Pumpkin Real and cream makes a beautiful whipped cream. Blueberry. So I use it all the time. And I love charging the fruit too. It's kind of cool. So thank you. Drink Masters, I still haven't gotten through the whole thing yet. I've just been so busy, and I'm still getting there. So
well, that's all right. But while you're getting there, let's maybe move on to our trivia question. You kind of alluded at it early. Today's trivia question, and the first one to put it in the comments, starting with an A for answer, and then your answer is, Dean already announced when Prohibition started, but when was the exact date of the repeal of Prohibition and the reason why we're celebrating today? First one to answer in the comments. I'll be following along. I'll let you know who the winner is in the comments.
Nice. That's so exciting. So what else we got going on, Rob? We're got some big plans for 2023. Are we ready to reveal said plans?
Not just yet. Let's leave them hanging on the end of season 4, and we can announce all this at the beginning of season 5.
Woo! All right. Well, you know what? This is a show called One Drink With. And I think we got this thing out of order because I'm getting kind of parched here. I'm getting kind of thirsty. So you know what time it is.
All right, so for today's cocktail for a Prohibition, we are going to make the Ward 8 back from 1898 with a congressman celebrating his win in the seat of Massachusetts. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going to use 8 ounces of WhistlePig bourbon, brand new, just came to the market. If you haven't tried it, you're missing out. A ½ ounce each of finest called grenadine and finest called single press lemon juice, along with a ½ ounce of orange juice. We're going to shake that bad boy up.
I love your smile.
dump that chilled coupe glass, and we're going to garnish this with 2 dark, filthy cherries. Thank you, Daniel Singer. And there you have the Ward 8.
Nicely done, sir. Nicely done. Yes. The
Thank you.
8. There it is. Cheers to you, sir.
Cheers to us, and cheers to our lovely lady waiting to come on the show.
Yes, I think, yes. I think we're ready to roll. Are you ready to roll? Would you like to introduce this lovely lady, sir?
I can. Miss Ingrid Shawn Rodriguez is been an inspiration to a lot of us here in South Florida, and as well with the United States Bartenders Guild, of how much she's done and accomplished, and her new and existing role and ever growing role at WhistlePig, and her involvement with the Tampa Repeal Day conference. It's one of the biggest Repeal Day events in the United States, and it's a multi-day event, from seminars to parties to dinners to competitions to all leading up to an amazing grand gala. But I don't want to get too much into it because I'm sure we're going to talk about it. Without further ado, Miss Ingrid Shawn Rodriguez.
There she is. Hello, hello.
Hello. Hello, everybody. Oh, what are we drinking?
Cheers.
Cheers to you guys. All right.
Ingrid, first question. What are you drinking?
Well, this was a special occasion, so I brought out the big boy, Boss Hog 9.
Nice.
She's absolutely delicious.
Sorry, let me see that Boss Hog 9 again. Sorry. Let me see that Boss Hog 9 again. Yeah, oh, nice. Oh, I love that. Can I see the cap?
Yeah, so the cap is actually the 9 muses. There are 9 different tops.
Ooh, and which one of them is most difficult to get?
Oh, I forgot the name of it. I'm sorry.
Oh.
They're all pretty much difficult to get because they're not all being shipped to the same states at the same time. So I call it the world's most expensive scavenger hunt.
Well, I'll have to get on that scavenger hunt. I go to all the different states all the time. So Ingrid, you are drinking some WhistlePig. I have the small batch 10-year-old rye with me. Yay! So thank you very, very much. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was thrilled to get that home. I was absolutely thrilled to get into it. So tell us about your career in bartending. If you could give us just a quick background to get any of our guests caught up to speed who may not know you.
So bartending, very limited. I bartended for a very short period of time in the 90s in New York. My idea of craft cocktails was Jack and Coke.
Right.
This was pre-Cosmopolitan era, so well before anything in the craft world. Then for a small amount of time in Tampa, St. Pete area for a beer and wine location in Largo. Cool. Nothing exciting. The majority of how I've been involved in the bartending world is through the United States Bartenders Guild, which I joined in 2012. Through them, I would work.
Cocktails?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Is that how you got into craft cocktails, through USBG then?
Oh, yeah, definitely. My first Tales of the Cocktail, my eyes were wide open to everything that could happen in the spirits world and wine and beer, and that kind of brought me in. Plus, I was working in construction at the time, and it was a lot more fun going to hang out with the bartenders than hang out with my construction peeps. Sorry, construction peeps. But because of that, I have a background in industrial engineering, so wow. Chaos drives me crazy. I call myself the organizer of chaos because when I see it, I have to fix it, which brought me into the Tampa Bay Repeal Day at the time party and after I left conference. And I'm also now the national treasurer for the United States Bartenders Guild.
Nice.
Oh, I guess I should mention, I've worked for WhistlePig for 6 years as well. I am their regional sales manager for Florida and the United States brand educator for the East Coast.
Gotcha. Wow, you've been busy, and welcome to the wonderful spirit world. I'm sure you miss your peeps back there in the construction world.
Oh, not
Ingrid,
at all. We meet up periodically. They all drink WhistlePig.
Tell us about the inception of why Tampa wanted to throw a Repeal Day party. What was it? How did it start? Why? What was the motivation?
So it was actually started by the precursor to the USBG. The Left Coast Bartenders Guild, under Dean Hurst, had decided that they really wanted to celebrate what made bartending what it was. So prior to Repeal Day, bartenders were held up in really high regard in the United States. And then we had Prohibition, and I mean, they were still held up to regard, just, speakeasy. But when it came about, Dean wanted to celebrate it in a way that brought back the revelry that was the day that happened. So a huge 1930s party. Hope I didn't give away the answer. And it made it so that he wanted to do something for Tampa that was specific to both the community and the bartenders, to celebrate one of the reasons that we're all here. The conference part was brought about a couple of years later. There was a group of us who were all big Tales fanatics, and we wanted to create a conference for bartenders by bartenders. And it started small. It was a 3-day event. And by the time 2019 was my last year, and then COVID, so it's been rough restarting it. But up until that point, it became a 5-day conference, and it was all bartender run.
It's amazing. And those of you that haven't gone, you are definitely missing out from an amazing event. What it was seminars during the day, amazing parties at night, spirited dinners, competitions, and all leading up to an amazing gala where everybody and anybody that was there, to the hundreds of people, everyone was dressed up in proper Prohibition era attire. And it was great with flappers and silk dancers and champagne. But Ingrid, the question is, all of the work and all of that has to take on all the preparation. Tell us how you managed to handle all that.
Lots of stress. No, I had a fantastic team. So for the most part, the team that did Repeal Day every year grew. So we started with a dedicated group of about 5 people. The first Repeal Day was a lot. But by the end of it, we had grown people into positions. So as I said, everyone had a specific lane. I was the director, and I handled most of the logistics and all of the big questions, the macro stuff like venues and vendors and making sure everyone got paid, insurance, which people tends to forget about all the time. And then we had people that specialized in the drinks, people who specialized in just handling the gala, people who did all of the seminars. And by the end, we had a 15-person committee, and under them, they all had subcommittee members as well. So it created a structure. We created the most valuable bartender program, which were the premier bartenders that came every year. And those individuals ultimately became part of committee members as we transgressed all the years. If we were to go back now, we'd probably have a dedicated group of about 30 to 40 people that would come back to help us execute this event. All unpaid. We paid the bartenders in hotels and parties, and then made them all work really, really hard.
What would we do without volunteer hours? How big did this party get over the years?
So the first year, we brought in 60 bartenders. By the last year, we had 100 bartenders we would house and feed for the whole time. The gala went from 100, about a 50-person party started when they started under Left Coast, and our largest was almost 1,100 people by our biggest party at the end of 2019.
Wow. And what are your thoughts on how did it grow to be such a huge success? There's my cat. You had your cat on earlier. There's my cat. How did this be such a big success then? And what advice could you give?
So the success was really based on all of the volunteers. It grew because of word of mouth. Even though we started in Tampa Bay and we had some pretty good marketing, what we wound up really creating was this bartender community where it was someplace that everyone wanted to be. So bartenders, we would announce the most valuable bartenders at Tales of the Cocktail. That was very much planned so that people would talk about it. And by the time we got to the last one in 2019, it was one of those conferences that people wanted to go to. Our speakers were all high quality speakers. The brands that invested a lot of time and money to capture what we call the creme de la creme of the bartending world. if it hadn't been for the United States Bartenders Guild, which gave us the ability to launch this, we wouldn't have been as successful because that provided a lot of communication tools for us. But by the time we moved into 2018 and 19, we kind of kept it all under one house, and we had an entire selection process. Everything was randomized. I was really impressed with my team and the way that we grew it over the years.
That's pretty amazing. So, let's say I'm a local bartender and I want to start my own Repeal Day, perhaps with not that kind of vision. But what advice could you give me locally to start up my own Repeal Day?
First, make sure that you have enough people that want to do it. It is something that's going to require some bodies on hand. Also, make sure it's on a day that people can go. Unfortunately, Repeal Day this year is on a Monday. There's no way we could throw a 1,000-person party on a Monday, so it would have happened on a Saturday in order to capture that consumer market. Also, make sure you kind of stick to some of the classics. If you're going to throw a Repeal Day party, people are going to show up in gear. So make it comfortable for people to dress in 1920s and 1930s attire. But most importantly, have patience.
That's great advice, having patience, but also having a place, making it accessible for people to get around in their big gowns and whatnot, right?
Yeah. And good music. Well, we had a couple of rules of Repeal Day. The first one was do not make Ingrid cry. The second rule was no police. The third rule was don't set anything on fire. And the fourth rule was make sure you go back to rule number one.
Don't set anything on fire. I love it. And the no police.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about the actual gala and what happened there, like in all the different floors and how much you put together? I mean, for those that haven't gone, just to give them an idea of how big just the gala was itself.
So we were lucky to partner with the Cuban Club here in Tampa, in Ybor City. It's a beautiful venue that was built over 100 years ago, so it definitely fit the vibe that we were looking for. They had about a 4-floor location. We counted the mezzanine as a location for us, which gave us the ability to decorate, and we would rent out the entire space. The space itself fits over 2,000 people, but we never wanted to go too busy. As we set up each floor, we wanted it to flow and not have people waiting too long for any type of drink. Each bar would be set up with its own team. So downstairs, we had a feeling that was more of a speakeasy casino underground. We also one year had a fortune teller and a drag show. It was fantastic. Then the middle level, the welcome level, was the theater level. So that's where we actually had a theater where all the performers would perform, and we had a schedule. And then on either side of that, we set up lounges and additional bars. So when you first entered in, you felt the majesty of walking into a great 1920s party. I mean, kind of like the theme of Gatsby when you walk in and you see that great big party. Even as we walked up the stairs, we had secret private rooms that you could go into. And Angel's Envy and Stoli one year did an excellent job of setting up a newsstand and then setting up this private venue with curtains. And then upstairs, the grand ballroom, it's massive. We hired some professional dancers. We hired aerial performers. We had people that would go around and intermingle with the crowd that were period people so that they would feel they were there in the 1920s and 30s. But most importantly was making sure that all the bars had a theme. So every year we would come up with a new theme, and all of the cocktails were curated to fit that theme. Wherever they were located in the building fit the transgression of whatever that was. For instance, one year it was travel, and we had it set up by continent and by different periods so that you felt like you were in France or you felt like you were in old school England. And we wanted to make sure that as a person consumer walked through it, you would understand the flow of the party. And everybody that we hired, all the bartenders played along. They all dressed their period. They all decorated their bars with some of their own stuff that they brought from home. And by the end of it, everything was pre-batched. We made sure not to have too much work. But it gave them the ability to really enjoy the party. And everyone had, in the last 2 years, not the first few, but we had extra people so people could leave their bars. We had an entire back bar staff that would handle all the glassware and the cleaning and the loading of the truck at the end of the night. So it went so that if you were there, you still could enjoy it, or you could just stay behind the bar and play as long as you wanted.
That's incredible, the amount of detail that you had. So you had actors walking around just pretending that they were from the 1920s.
Yeah, I would love to say that we hired most of the people. By the end came for free because they just wanted to come to the party. But yeah, the dancers were professional dancers that would come, and then they would mingle around with people to get people to come out into the dance floor.
Yeah, it was amazing, Dean. And I know we got a clip showcasing it, which we'll probably play at the end of the show. But just for you at home watching, just to see the amount of work and a great, well organized, amazing event. It was well done. But Ingrid, we talked about the United States Bartenders Guild a little bit earlier. Tell us that transition of when you were the USBG Tampa president, going from that transition to your now new position. Tell us about that and how that happened.
So I was the USBG Tampa treasurer for a year. Then I was vice president for a year. Then I was president for 2 years. At that point, the region, the southern region, which for us covered from South Carolina through Louisiana, voted me in to become their regional representative. However, at this time, we were doing a changeover in our governance structure at USBG. So I moved from being a regional representative to being a board of director member. From there, I'm now serving on my second term for the USBG board. And then 2 years ago, they asked me to become the treasurer since I have a background in finance. The USBG is going through a big transition right now. COVID, obviously, a lot of people went through some changes. We've lost some members. We've gained some new members. There's a lot of brain drain that happened in the course of it. So we've taken on the task of creating a place to help people move forward. A lot of the times people look at USBG based on how we were about 6 years ago. I can say that the group that we have now is dedicated to the education of bartenders as a whole, not just craft bartenders. And my role as the treasurer is to make sure that our financing is in place, of getting extra strategy, of having an asset strategy so that we can exist for another 75 to 100 years. 2023 represents the USBG's 75th anniversary, and I'm really proud to be helping create that, as we're calling it, Jubilee Conference, to help capture the spirit of what bartending really is.
Beautiful. I love that you're reaching out to meet all different styles of bartenders, not just craft bartenders, and that we've evolved into that. I guess it's flair, speed bartenders, or dive bar bartenders can get involved. I'm assuming, especially with your attention to detail. So
we all make drinks, brother.
That's hospitality, and it's not just bartenders. It's hospitality in general. It's from the servers to the managers to the suppliers to the distributors. We all are joined together to create what this is. So even though it's called the Bartenders Guild, it's really the Hospitality Guild, and it's about creating strategies and helping people find this as a career as opposed to just a stopgap. I mean, for me, I did this when I was younger, and now the supplier role is my current job. It's showcasing that it's a lot larger of an audience than people really think it is. And we have an enthusiast category for all the consumers that want to join.
Just the drinkers.
Yeah, I know Jeff Serneels watching right now, so he just messaged me privately, but he says, Ingrid, he misses you. He misses volunteering at Tampa Repeal Day, and he can't wait for the next one, but you have to be involved, he said.
We shall see. It's a lot of work. I'm pretty sure 1 year I did it still working in construction and whiskey. I don't know how I did it.
I don't know how you do it, but I'm always amazed and in awe when I see you execute it so flawlessly from the outside looking in, because only the bride sees the mistakes, but everyone else, it looks amazing. But tell us about your role that you're in now with WhistlePig, and how did you get involved with that with David, and where it brought you to where you are now?
I would love to say that there was a path to this, but there really wasn't. The Tampa Bay Repeal Day Conference gave me the opportunity to engage in a little higher level programming for bartenders. So in 2014, I got invited to Camp Run Amok. At Camp Run Amok, I met Dave. He was sitting by the fire pit. My story is pretty funny. I was in construction full time. It was a Thursday. I had to do payroll, and I'm sitting there with my laptop, And Dave comes over to me and he's like, you don't belong here. I was like, no, I just have to get this finished. And he's like, everybody else is doing laybacks. They're having this great time. And I'm trying to get payroll done before midnight because I'd have 100 really mad employees the next day. Actually, sorry, it was a Wednesday. And after that, we just started talking. We started talking engineering. We were talking whiskey, why I was there. And from that moment on, Dave and I just clicked. He became one of my best friends, my mentor. And when a position became available at WhistlePig, he called me and said, hey, send your resume to this guy, and you need to come up here in a week for an interview. I've got a job for you. I was like,
Wow.
oh, I said, when the master distiller calls you, you go, all right, cool, yeah, I'm in. And they liked me. And I started part-time with WhistlePig. Then I got full-time status, and I'm covering the whole state. Prior to COVID, I actually covered Georgia and South Carolina as well. But then COVID happened, and I have Crohn's disease, so I had to stay local. And so now I'm the regional sales manager for Florida, which is a beast within itself.
Oh,
And then the brand educator role came about last year. Part of it is probably because I've been with WhistlePig the longest of most employees. I am the historian, the dinosaur, you name it. But I know the most about the brand. So myself and my coworker Blaine out of the West Coast do a lot of the Zoom calls, the education calls, the trainings for the distributor and for our new team members. I enjoy it. I love working for WhistlePig. My joke with that is now I get reimbursed for my bad habit. But I drank WhistlePig before I worked for WhistlePig, and I had the honor to be great friends with two people that we actually commemorated at Repeal Day. Dave Pickerel, he passed away shortly before Repeal Day in 2018.
Metallica whiskey.
And Rocky A passed away right before 2019.
Right. Well, we can raise a glass to these guys for sure. Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
So later on tonight, on this Monday night of the 5th, where is Repeal Day taking you? Where are you celebrating Repeal Day tonight?
So 2 places. There is actually a Bucks Saints night game that I will be going to at some point, but I also have a high value dinner that is taking place for an intimate dinner for 10 people where we are tasting all of the Boss Hogs from 3 to 9.
Ooh.
So I'll be doing that and heading to the football game.
Wow. Can I get a ticket for that one?
It is a private party.
Tell us where we can find you, Ingrid.
Social media wise or live?
Yeah.
Social media.
Well, actually, no, I did have that other question before we get to the list of social medias. If I run a bar and I love serving WhistlePig, how do I get someone from your team to come and give us some education or get involved with you?
So fair enough. Actually, that goes into my social media as well. But you can always go on the WhistlePig website. There is a contact us that goes straight to our marketing team. And it allows them to send us a message with the information so that we can contact and do some outreach. So anyone who's not specific in Florida, that would be my recommendation. But of course, you can always contact me and I will get in the information to the proper regional manager or key account manager that we have in your state. My handles are pretty easy. Everything WhistlePig related is WhistlePig Ingrid. I am on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
I am not cool enough to be on TikTok. Sorry. As you can see, my value in media is like no video. But then if you want to follow me personally, and I always have to disclaim that my personal views have nothing to do with my work views. I am Traveling Whiskey Fairy on Instagram, and you'll see a lot of pictures of my cats. And then just Ingrid Shawn Rodriguez on Facebook. I try to put a lot of funny stuff, cats, family. You'll see a lot of funny memes that come from me. But you're welcome to follow either one and then reach out via any of those messaging programs and I can get a hold of you.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you very, very, very much. That brings us to one of the sadder portions of our show, Final Sip. What did we take from the show today? What are your final thoughts We'll start with Rob. I'll go, and then Ingrid, if you've got anything to share at the end, that would be absolutely wonderful. Mr. Husted, what is your final sip?
I would say for the final sip, I was definitely inspired with giving a damn and doing something that makes a difference out there. Throw a conference, throw a seminar, and just gather people together for a good time. And if you're looking for expiration, look in the past. Repeal Day was an amazing event, but there's plenty more that's in the past that we can celebrate in the future, and hopefully you're the one to do it for us.
Look in the past. Oh, that's so sad. That's so nice of you to say that. Just kind of fits, you know? All right. What is my final sip? My final sip is WhistlePig today. My final sip is kind of similar, Rob, but just being so amazed at how huge this community got. Just in Tampa, being able to support such a large event and all these people volunteering, just coming in to be part of it. I am so excited about moving into the new world, this post-COVID world, which seems to has kind of brought a lot of people together, where now we're talking about the USBG for all the facets of bartending. I can only imagine what that's going to bring to these style events in the future when we really celebrate all styles of the craft all at once. So I'm very excited to see how that goes. All right, that's my final sip. Ingrid, is your drink almost empty, or?
Oh yeah, I have one more sip, exactly.
All right.
I'm holding it.
Perfect. We are professionals.
And before we hit that last sip, know that we are going to have another drink after this. Join us in the new year. We will have all of the one more drink with videos available to our subscribers and our best friends here at Cocktail Network Live. So we're going to have a drink after this, but just recorded. We're not going live with it. But anyway, back to you, Ingrid. What is your final sip of the day?
So my final sip is a tip of the hat to everyone that helped with Repeal Day. Over the 7 years that I did it, we raised over $100,000 for charity, and the volunteer hours were infinitesimal. So to everyone that helped with it and everyone that wants to help in the future, whether you were a supplier, a distributor, a bartender, a guest, thank you so much for attending. And I hope on Monday you guys are all partying like we used to, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Cheers.
Absolutely beautiful. Raising that glass. Thank you, Ingrid. That was when you get that rolling again, please contact me. I will be there in one way, shape, or form. Any way that I can support and help, I'd love to be there with Real or just by myself with Cocktail Network Live. So that's wonderful. All right, Mr. Husted, you got anything more for us?
Yeah, I'm just nostalgic now, just thinking about all the great times for Repeal Day and seeing Ingrid. Like, it's the first time I always see her. I want to give her a hug just for having such good times together. But I'm looking forward to one more sip where the first question we're going to ask Ingrid is, how do you properly budget and execute large events? Ooh. If you want to be part of the conversation, check out our website at cocktailnetworklive.com, where season 5 we launch One More Drink With.
go to here for yesterday's paper.
I might be able to do that for you. You got to answer a question for me, though. Can you tell me what kind of cask Angels Envy bourbon is finished in?
Party's over. Repeal Day 2017.